So it's so weird. If I go out and I meet guys in person, none of them have kids, have been married, and they probably live alone. But if I try online dating, like the men are like renting out rooms, borderline homeless, can barely support themselves. And they're talking about they're sleeping with all these people and they have sex tapes. And they're looking for a serious relationship. It sounds like they're looking for somebody to pay half the rent and to help sponsor them. And then, from my understanding, from what I hear about the women, they're always independent and have stuff going for them. And the men seem to be struggling. And it's like, I don't understand it, because I know a lot of women that will try and help a man build himself even when they're older. And it's like, get your shit together. And then the men are trying to tell me what's wrong with me or whatever. And it's mainly like, I need to move to where they are. And it's like, I don't want to move to where people are shitting on the streets. I'd rather live in the suburbs in a nice area, nobody shitting on the streets, everything's going well. And then they complain about the way I talk. I only had one person do that. No one's ever really said anything about the way I talk. Besides, some people say, oh, they're kind of surprised. And I take that as racist. Yeah, it's weird. Where are all the good men? People keep saying there are good men out there, but it's like, what's your idea of a good man versus mine? I'm just looking for a man. It's like, have an education, have a trade. Or if you have an education, I like a man that has an education and a trade. Or you don't necessarily have to go to trade school, but know how to do shit. I don't want to be the one that has to fix everything. And they say if you get married, the person you should marry should add to your life. So I'm short, so I'm looking for somebody tall, so I don't have to stand on a stepladder. And when I get old, I don't want to have to stand on a stepladder worrying about falling and if I break my hip because I married somebody short. It's like, I'm looking for somebody tall enough where I don't need a stepladder to change a light or anything. And then also a budget issue, because when I get old, if I'm trying to change a light, I want someone who can reach up and change it without having to stand on something, so I don't have to worry about their bills getting a broken hip or something or falling. If they can just reach up and get it. Yeah, and it's like, I'm expected to be short. I'm a girl, because it's like, well, some guys like women that are taller than them and stuff, but I'm not that tall. And I'm just looking for like a guy, because they say average height is like 5'9" in the US for a man. But I feel like that's gone down, because I know I wear like a platform heel. Well, not really a heel, but my shoes have at least like 2-inch platform. And I'm about 5'6", 5'7" in my shoes. And I'm towering over like crowds of men. And it's like, what the hell's going on? I'm not that tall. And then generally when I'm around crowds of men, it's a diverse crowd. Because in this crowd, there generally aren't any black men or white men in these crowds. I'm generally standing in a crowd of Latino men where I'm like the tallest person around. And I'm like an Amazon. And even without my platform heels, sometimes I'm still an Amazon. Especially around the women. And it's like, I'm not trying to... Because it's like, I feel like if I dated someone that was around my height, it's more likely to be a domestic violence situation, because the ego is so small. And then I could just be like spinning around, living my best life, free and happy. Next thing you know, I smack him in the face and I'm just spinning around, and it's like no ill intention. I'm just having fun dancing, spinning around. But if I dated a guy like 6'5", it's like, I'm not coming near your face. I dated a guy like 6 foot, I'm most likely not coming near your face. Yeah. And then it'll be like kind of awkward if I did date someone that short, like 5'5" or something. Because then it'll be awkward. Because then it's like, oh, if I see a guy and he's like my ex, and then we keep going places, and then it's like, oh, I come across my ex, and then it's like, huh. And it's like, okay, her exes seem to be really tall, like a foot taller than me. You're like 5'5", my exes are like 6'5", 6 foot. I've dated a few people 6 foot, 6'3", 6'4", dated people like 6'8". And yeah, because it's like, okay, these people are all pretty tall, and then it would be awkward. Like, say if I dated like a really short Latino man. I've dated Latino men. They were tall though, like 6'3", 6'5". But if I dated a short Latino man and then we're out, and then it would be awkward because if we ran into some of my exes, a good amount of them are like Africans. And I'm not even talking about like sub-Saharan African, like Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Egypt. A good amount of my exes are from over there. Or Europe. Well, they're not from Europe, but European ancestry, like white guys. And then there have been a few Asian guys, and everybody's like over 6 foot. A few times I dated a few people that were like 5'10". I've tried to date people that were 5'10", but then there were like some ego issues. I remember there was this one guy, and I'm like, oh, you're short. And I'm like, yeah, I'll give a short guy a chance. And he didn't know he was short. He was like 5'10", and he didn't know it. And it's like awkward because he's like, I'm tall. And I'm like, okay. And he was having issues, and then he told me I did him wrong and I was messing with him and I was delusional because I didn't realize he was tall. Well, to me, he was short and just an inch above average height. Because I'm thinking, to me, you're short. I've dated guys like 6'5", 6'8", 6'9". And then people are like, where are you meeting these people? Oh, they were nice people. I don't know. It's weird. Taller guys seem to be nicer, and they don't seem to have as many ego issues and like different things, and they're not like stuck up on things and trying to cause conflict. It's more like free love, fun, happy, not negative. But I did date one guy. He was mad but it was more like he didn't want to be in a relationship. You said you didn't want to be in a relationship. I was like, because I'm like, why don't you identify as my boyfriend? And he's like, yeah, I don't want to be your boyfriend, but you wanted to keep seeing me. So you told me we weren't together. So I went out with someone else, but it wasn't really like someone else. It was more like I hung out with a depressed guy. And then he's like, you're cheating on me. And I'm like, you said I wasn't your girlfriend. And then he got mad at me. But that wasn't what broke us up. What broke us up was when he like gave me an ultimatum, and I was like, no. Yeah, that was the only time I ever had a tall guy get mad at me. Oh, wait, no, one time I had another tall guy get mad at me that I dated. He was like 6'2" or so, 6'1". And he got mad at me because I was asking him, was he mad at me? And if he was breaking up with me, and then my phone broke. Well, it didn't break, but it died, and I had to get a new charger. And I didn't hear back from him until I was able to fix my phone, because I don't write phone numbers down, so I couldn't call him from another phone. And then he was upset with me. Those were the only 2 times I ever had like a tall guy mad at me that I dated that I'm not friends with. Yeah, but I think it's easier to date tall guys. They seem to be less angry, confrontational, and violent, and they seem to stalk you less. I don't know, my dating with short guys has been traumatic. Like, it was weird. I dated this one short guy, And he told me to get an abortion, but it was like weird because I never slept with him and I wasn't pregnant. And it's like, why is someone telling me to get an abortion and I'm not pregnant? And I never slept with them. And it was like weird. Yeah, because I had two short guys tell me to get an abortion and I never slept with them. And that's like really weird. It's like someone has a pre-talk with you. And it's like, okay. Yeah, and then the shorter guys, they tend to be like feminist and all this stuff. And everything. And then like two short guys I dated, I think they're like 5'10" or something. Two other short guys. 'Cause I think probably in total I dated like 5, maybe 6 short guys, like around like 5'10" or so. And I think that's the shortest I've ever dated. And they still talk to me to this day if I'm willing to talk to them. And they're like obsessed with me, but they didn't, I wouldn't say we had the best relationship, but they never proposed to me. But one tried to have a baby with me right before he got married. And I only found out he was married like years later when I Googled him and looked him up on Facebook, and then I found out. But I don't like my experiences with short guys. I feel like tall guys treat me better overall, and I have more fun with tall guys. So I guess I've pretty much just always dated tall guys because it's just better. And they're not as angry, and I can joke with them and have fun. And then I like the idea of like I can look up, and if I can't see something, and then you're like bigger and stronger, and then you're like scaring other people. So people think twice before like messing with me. Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of have a thing for tall guys. And then plus, also, if I ever took some guy like 5'10" or like shorter around my family, they would be like, why are you with such a tiny guy? Because everybody in my family is like at least 5'11", 6 foot or taller. I do have a few relatives that are shorter. Like 5'9", 5'10", maybe 5, yeah. But I generally date tall. And if you like, watch and subscribe. I thought I was gonna find a nice Indian man to marry, but then I realized I've dated a few Indian guys. I like some of them, but I just want a cultureless marriage. Yeah, because I realized I want a man with no culture. It's like, we can celebrate Christmas. We can celebrate, but like when I mean like celebrate Christmas, like get gifts, put them in front of a Christmas tree, open them, and you're done, and have dinner or something. Same thing with like New Year's, make a dinner, eat it. I might be there, I might not be. 4th of July, I don't really know what we do with 4th of July or whatever, because I'm looking for a vegetarian, pescatarian. And that's the other thing. Like, men try and force women to eat meat. And, like, I've met so many women, they're like, if I wasn't married, I'd be a vegetarian. And they're like, they eat meat because their husbands make them. Or if they don't, their husbands will berate them. And I don't want to eat meat. And if I don't cook meat and I don't want to eat meat, I'm not going to feed it to my kid. It's like, why can't I live off the land? But not like really live off the land, because I'm still going to eat like Impossible burgers, and I'll eat seafood and stuff. But I just don't really like the idea of having a thaw out meat and having it get bloody in my refrigerator or something if I forget something. and all that kind of stuff. I just don't want meat in my refrigerator or in my house. Yeah, but I'm single, looking for a man who's a vegetarian or pescatarian. If you're out there, mentally stable, not polyamorous, open relationship, not covered in tattoos and piercings, up for meeting someone that's nice. It's like, why is it so hard to meet a vegetarian or pescatarian that's not polyamorous, covered in tattoos, and sleeps around with piercings and tattoos and stuff? I don't know, it's weird. But if you like, watch and subscribe. Bye.